I started to reorganize my studio, but when you work in the home studio, nothing is ever simple. Working late nights, prioritizing your art over other things like doing the grocery and getting food are all part of what really happens. So let's talk about that and stick around because at the end, I'll show you the final studio reveal. Hi, I'm Clara Narty. I'm a full-time textile artist, and I take you behind the scenes of my life as an artist. Welcome to my world of art and textile. And now, let's continue where we left off last week with my studio reorganization. I'm going to go to town and run some errands, and then after that I'll come back and see how much work I can get done here. I am feeling good because I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's more work than I had imagined, but it's getting there. I'm getting there, so that's exciting. I did find this book while I was cleaning. This is something I do when I want to support an artist. This particular artist uses West African fabrics for her work. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a flip through of her book with you so that you can get a look at what's in the book. She has such amazing patterns because she uses the West African fabrics, which are typically very, very patterned. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll do a flip through with you later. But for now, I have to go do run a couple of errands. So walking into the store. How are you? Good, thank you. $1.49. Follow the instructions on the pin pad. I'm back from running all my errands, and yeah, let's do a flip through. I love this artist's work. Her work is based on West African textiles, which my work is also inspired by. She uses these textiles in such interesting ways as props for her photography, the way she just manipulates the fabrics to create her photography is just interesting, so very interesting. And I follow her on Instagram, and I think that one of the easy entry points into an artist's work is through their coffee table books. So if the artist has a coffee table book and you're not able to purchase their original artwork, you can purchase their coffee table books and you will get access to their artwork in another form. So that's what I did with this artist. Her name is Thandiwe Murio. So Thandiwe Murio. Um, let's do a flip through. Today, I've got some meetings in town. I serve on the board of a local arts organization, and I have some meetings. I have two meetings today in town related to that service. So I'm going to go out later in a couple hours, but before I do that, I want to use this time between now and my meetings to work on the three tabletop surfaces that I need to be working on. The one tabletop is almost done. On that table, that working table, I do have a piece of fabric that I have folded up and made it a little thick to cover that table because I use that table as an ironing table as well. So I have some fabric covering it, and the fabric is white, so it gets dirty very easily. So that fabric I need to pull down and put it in the laundry, and that table will be done. So table number one is done. And then table number two would be my sewing machine work area. I use it for both. I use that area to both sew and to do computer work when I'm in the studio. That is cleared. I'm not expecting it to be like completely in pristine shape because it's a working area. My studio is a working space, so it cannot ever be in complete pristine shape with everything in its place because I'm always working. So I will say the state of the sewing machine, computer working area, it's about almost done. I have a few things on that tabletop, that surface, that working surface that I need to remove, but otherwise it's in working shape. The third working surface is the one that is not done at all. I think I was dumping stuff onto that tabletop as I was cleaning the other two surfaces. So that is the last one that needs to be done. And I hope to be able to do that before my meetings today. So that's the plan for today. Hi there. Today I'm just going to get to work. This is the final table that needs to be cleared. I did finish the other one, so I'm going to clear this one, and that will be the last major surface that needs to be cleared. And with that, I can start to work. And the other little things, I can get to them later. But with this table cleared, I am ready to get work. So I'm going to go clear this table. Hi, good morning. Yesterday, I thought I would finish it up. I stayed up so late. I stayed up past midnight because I was so sure I was this close to finishing it up. And I just wanted to finish it up, but I couldn't. And eventually, I decided to go to bed. What took so much time were the little things, the notions, the needles, the threads, the little things that I was trying to sort out and put into different little containers and storage bins and all of that. It was the little things that took the most time. But I'm almost there. And so I know that today I'm going to finish it. Today I just need to clean up, vacuum, and put a few things together, and I'm done. So I'm going to get to work. Here are my reflections for the week. Home studios. I love that I have my studio at home. It is one of the favorite things about my art practice that I really love. Because let's face it, with a studio at home, I can wake up in the middle of the night with a great idea and just come into my studio and start working on it. And I can also stay up late and continue working on a project until I feel like it's enough for me to go to bed. The good thing about having your studio at home is the same thing that can become a negative. The other day, I met this really well-established artist, world-renowned artist, and we started to talk about our home studios, and he was telling me how he loved to wake up in the middle of the night with an idea and just go and work on it. And now he has this huge studio, and he doesn't create as much work as he used to create when he had his home studio. So, how do you achieve work-life balance as an artist working from home? One of the things that I do is to talk to my loved ones about it. It creates an accountability partner. When somebody else knows about your struggles with spending too much time at work and not eating when you should be eating, they check on you. And when someone checks on you, it just brings it back to your memory that I got to stay on top of this. So for instance, now that I'm talking to you about it, it becomes fresh in my mind. And so then I know that I have to stay on top of it. Another thing that I like to do is to journal. When I journal the things that I'm thinking about, it helps me to reflect the same way that I'm reflecting with you right now. So those are the two things that I think you can do to help you get a work-life balance. Now, reflections on reorganizing my studio. I think that everybody's space works for them in the way that they need it to work for them. I can look at all the photos on Pinterest, but it doesn't mean that if I set up my studio the way that it is on Pinterest is going to work for me. What works for me is based on the way that I work. And so I put the things that I need to work and the way that I work in the places that make sense for me. So if you are thinking about reorganizing your studio, that is my advice. Thank you for joining me in my studio today. If you haven't seen the first part of this studio reorganization, I'm going to leave the link in the description below. Do check it out, and I'll see you again here next week. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do subscribe. Until next time, take care.